Okay. So, and Uday, go ahead, Uday. What were you saying about it? You think it's better,
Yeah,
just mostly for
I
blunders?
think that like the game review features are good because they show you what blunders you made if you just want to like a brief analysis of the game. But to actually understand the themes and concepts, you need to go deep.
Right, right. Mainly, I'd
Correct.
say qualitative is where it's definitely lacking.
I mean, I think it's good for, $110 a year. Some of the explanations are good, but it's not. Yeah, it can only get someone so far. Someone who's 1,500 plus probably already see the explanations that they give. So
Oh, if you're 1,500 plus, in terms of, yeah, because a lot of it is just you have a hanging piece, you missed an opportunity to get a 4. That's about, and obviously it's kind of like the Barney thing in a way where you you pull the Barney and it has 5 responses. Although
but
but it has more things.
I mean, I do think it's good for those who are 1,500 or below because sometimes they don't see why I moved. Sometimes this move connects the pawns. I think sometimes a move might have 2 purposes. It only says one. Like, for example, if someone moves a bishop to protect a hanging pawn and it connects the rooks,
right?
I think game review would just say it connects the rooks or it protect it. It doesn't do a good job on multiple reasons why.
Yeah, it's rudimentary even when it comes to that's somewhat, and that's minimally qualitative. It's pretty direct, but that's why, well, the game that I played last night had a very subtle pawn structure moment. So I'm curious, but so the thing, well, my main takeaway, apart from I mentioned,
oh wait, my favorite one, that's the move I would have played too. I'm like,
what's that?
What's
the
reason?
Right?
That's thanks, computer. That's nice to know, Danny Wrench, but why? That's the move I would have played too. Yes, that's the best move.
I know, that cracks me up too. I'm like, oh, great, yay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, but there was a video. Wait, is it Andras? Wait, is it? Am I butchering his name? Is it Andras Koth? That was Andras Koth. I am. Andras. So I think he's Spanish. Maybe I'm totally butchering it. I think he's from Spain. And yeah, he had an interesting video. It was just very brief. It was like a 10-minute video where he just kind of discusses his thoughts about the game review. And basically, he was saying they thought it's more useful for higher rated players. Otherwise, it could fly over someone's head, or no, it would just be kind of like counterproductive because of the confusion that you guys mentioned there. And that, you basically need a coach. He's like, hey, I'm not saying this just because I'm a coach, but you need a guide in some way.
You do. You need somebody to like just explain it. And like, why do I need to play like 97? I don't understand why he keeps telling me to do that. And like, finally, I had a coach telling me like, okay, you got to play it because of this and this and this and this and this. And then that was helpful. Like, even though like I've been looking at this, I know I'm supposed to play it, but I don't know why. So I'll play the move.
Well, also, okay, that's one thing as to why, and then as Richard said, there might be multiple reasons, and also it really might not be a reasonable move. I mean, for a computer, I could say one thing is that there might be a secondary move that's like whatever centimon loss is like 0.3 difference, which is maybe irrelevant, like kind of moot if we're talking about a significant advantage already, or even if it's not like 0.3, 0.2 is really not a substantial difference for humans because it's looking like 30 moves ahead. But it's that, so the secondary or tertiary moves it gives might be part of a narrative. It may connect more to a narrative. That's the problem, I think. A lot of people, whether you're talking about the game review or just using computers in general, sure, it kind of makes you creative, looking for random moves. That Fisher came up with these types of things, as I've talked about, kind of his ugly moves he'd find. That's what computers help you with, like moves you may not consider. You begin to consider these types of sort of creative things, counterintuitive types of move, but these things have been discovered by top GMs in the past 50, 100 years. It's not like they weren't discovered, right? In modern chess, creative players have come up with these things, and they have a narrative, though. That's the problem. That's the main problem. Computers don't have a clear narrative that they're going to tell you. They might just come up with a random move. You're like, okay, I found this interesting move, but it's not connected.
I had a question about this
Uh-huh.
because I think I mentioned this to you the other day, but like when you're going through a game and you're looking at what the computer is recommending, and you go through a line that the computer has generated. One of the problems I have is that being sloppy humans, I feel like the move assumes that I feel like each person is playing as a computer and not as just a sloppy person who might do a move, respond to the computer move with something totally
Absolutely right. Yeah.
weird. So my question is always
Right.
with these recommended moves, is that knowing my level and more or less the level of the person I'm playing, like
No,
I think
absolutely not. Right. That's the problem. Like these evaluations you're going to see, unless it's clear cut, like we talked about. The most useful thing is it's a blunder. Like, well, then again, why is it a blunder sign? But if it's clearly a blunder, so you have to use your common sense there in a way to filter it, to say, wait, is this a move that a human would really find? And that's one of my main takeaways that I want to get at, is that you have to engage with the computer. So you take the game report, you can't just be spoon-fed, you can't just be a consumer. You have to actively engage with it, knowing the shortcomings for human, imperfect, whatever you want, ugly, sloppy human chess. Not that we're going to try to play sloppy chess, but just knowing, like, practically, right? Just being practical, knowing that a human's probably not going to find that. You might consider that fine. Okay, what if they play it? But also, I'm going to grapple with it and say, well, let me test this line out, and use your curiosity. As you should always be curious. That's what would drive you to look at these lines and say, wait, what if this happens? What if this happens? And basically you're trying to arrive at the best move, but it's driven by your curiosity, I'd say, and a passion to find the truth. Really, it's something that that's fundamental, I think. So when you're searching for that, you say, okay, what if they do this? What if they do that? Maybe a human would try this move, because I've talked with you guys about that a lot. If we've looked at a computer, right? Look at some computer analysis. Say, okay, what if they tried this? Well, then we're probably okay, right? Something like that. It depends. Oh, and by the way, sorry, it's Andras Toth or something, Toth. He's from Hungary. He's from Hungary. He's an IM. Yeah, so he has a big YouTube channel. Seems a lot of people like it. And yeah, he just gave a quick discussion. But when I saw it, I don't really watch YouTube videos too much, so I checked it out. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And if nothing else, it's good fodder for analysis, just to kind of piggyback off that and delve into it. So yeah, let's look at chess.com and lead chess. And again, there's a difference between just getting a game report and looking at the specific lines and grappling with it. The thing is, that's more advanced, but that's kind of what you have to do to get something realistic, apart from just blunders. Okay, anyway, so you guys have any other thoughts? It's a good discussion. You guys have any other thoughts before we jump into the actual analysis?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think game reviews are going to get a lot better.
Yeah, it's called explainable AI, right? So they're working on
Yeah,
explainable AI.
it's just in its infancy. Like, give it a few months, even less than a year, and it's going to be explaining subtle concepts too.
Well, it's been going on for a while. I mean, sure. Well, I've talked about this with you, Andrew, right? It's one thing for the computer to make great moves. Now, at first, it was programmed by GMs. So it was only as good as the GMs, essentially, as it could interpret in novel situations based on what GMs give it, its programming. And then machine learning came along with AlphaZero. And then just by the basic principles and learning, like with AlphaGo and everything, learning how to learn based on those basic principles, then it just keeps improving itself. So it can play amazing chess, but then it has to explain itself. And that, again, is pretty much only as good as the human explanation, at least for now, I think. But it could keep building off that. It could certainly keep building. Once it gets some good explanations, it learns how to explain better, like Google Translate, right? It learns how to explain better, and then it can build itself. I guess it can become a kind of a compound based on that. Any other thoughts on that? I know we've talked about that, Andrew, a bit.
Yeah, still
Right,
infancy, I
It's
think.
a tricky problem, though. So, Andrew, what were you
It's
saying?
still in its infancy.
Right.
I mean, the chess AI's strength is in its as infinite computing, like infinite memory, right? So you can't really compete with that. But it
Yeah,
has like
I
no
think,
understanding of what the things are, right?
right. It's come so far. I mean, AlphaZero is like, amazing chess. I mean, sure, you can go for more, but that's come pretty close sort of to solving chess. I mean, it's always more again, but it's pretty close, you know, within a fraction of a percentage point, I'd say. Because, you know, there is, now chess is not just a mathematical problem, but in terms of getting to the nuances, that's the tricky part. The nuance is what we would call the intuition through its neural network. It's come pretty close. Again, there's always more to be done, but with explainable AI, that's different. Again, that's just really hard to do well. For now, I guess it's mostly just based on, again, kind of the Barney doll sort of, or pull the whatever Jack in the Box or whatever it is, whatever doesn't, you pull the cord and it says like whatever certain commands, I mean, or certain responses. So yeah, it's whatever, it's a few hundred now or something. I mean, you see it keeps saying the same thing. Oh, that was a wild game, chances, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so let's pull it up now. I have the PGN, so I've just copied it. I'll share screen now. Okay, so I have the PGN here. I just plugged in my game for just since it was fresh. I haven't really analyzed it yet. I just pulled it up and I was like, yeah, okay, that was winning by that. That's when he resigned.
Plus
But it was an interesting bird opening. Yeah, that was at the end of it. That it was an interesting bird. It was against like a 1900. I don't know if he's been an expert, but he's like high 1800s, around 1900.
Yeah.
But no, he put up a good fight. But it was like this subtlety early on. It was really what we can delve into. So it was basically a Nimzo Indian, or like reversed, like would become a Queen's Indian kind of thing, but with the insertion of F4. So basically, you get to insert F4 for free, which actually happens in the Queen's Indian. I'll just show you quickly just to understand this. So if we have a, or actually be from Black, yeah, be from Black's perspective. So E6. So funny enough, AlphaZero versus Stockfish. This came up a lot. Just home in on that. So after knight F3, so knight C3, we can pin it immediately. So for example, knight B6. Okay, let's say knight C3, fine. It's basically the same thing, right? With the pin combined with bishop B7, that sort of thing, right? Now this would be, let's just say some random move, like a typical line E3. And then you'd have knight E4 and F5, but it's slower. It's the kind of thing where it's much better for white to, if you're going to commit to the F pawn push, it's much better for white to do it in those lines than for Black, because that is a weakening move. So basically I'm saying it's easier to play a bird than a Dutch, because white's often going to try and play E4, blast it open and exploit the weakness of, obviously there is some weakening with F5. So anyway, it's very similar. But yeah, it's like this with the insertion of F5 already, playing it with white and having that extra, the first move. So the key moment though, so for, you know, we get the beat. So it's like Nimzo Larsen also. Nimzo Larsen, again, it's Nimzo Indian reversed or Queen's Indian reversed, that type of thing. But again, insertion of F4, which helps you grab those dark squares, and you're trying to do that anyway. He let me pin him. It's kind of what I was. Spassky has done this a lot, actually. In the Fischer-Spassky round 5, again, he didn't play, again, A3. So let him take, reversed. But when you go here, it's like, look, he already is down a tempo. He goes A6, he's spending another move. I'm just going to take it. I'm fine to double his pawns to create the imbalance. Now, I'm not sure about bishop A3. I think you're supposed to go bishop B2. I haven't looked at it for a while, but I'm like, okay, it seems reasonable to see how he reacts. Maybe we should play queen A5 or something. Partially, I wanted him to go E6 so you can't bring his annoying bishop to G4. And then I could come in here and because I really want that knight. Mostly I want the knight to come here. So anyway, target him and just grab it, maybe even come back later. So that's how I'm viewing it from a human perspective. And I have doubled pawns to attack, right? Just to put pressure, like it's the Nimzo Indian, right? You often like get C4 in, you might get knight C3 to A4, just pound on that C5 pawn, or even a weak square. What's that?
I've got a question, like, sorry to interrupt, but I have like one doubt. That's
Yeah. Okay. This is just conceptualizing it, and then we'll look into it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so like my
it's
doubt was,
important.
so from what I understand, like most of your plan is hinged around getting the knight to E5, right?
Yeah, that's important. You've gotten rid of the knight on C6, so you done many purposes. Again, we can view it from a Nimzo Larsen or a Nimzo Indian. Just it's one way. Again, we're dealing with these reverse types openings, but very similar concepts.
Yeah, so like what happened?
But yeah, doubled pawns, 95 attack C6. You can support that usually bishop, or even go like knight D2 to F3. It's like it's funny enough. It's like in English with C4, you have knight on C3. Mm-hmm. It's just the other way around. Instead of the pawn chain being this way, which is kind of nice, has more sting because you can like attack the king over here. What else were you saying over there?
Yeah, so like what I was
Right.
thinking was, what if he goes knight d7 after you go knight e5?
Right away.
97.
And at some point or right away.
Like, I mean, I don't know.
Well, you're saying like
away
right now, as a move right now or soon?
No, I mean like after 95, 97, like at some point, like what will be your reaction? Like, will you take?
Well, the interesting thing about that, yeah, that's a common reply, just conceptual in general. But what you can do, well, think of it like this. There's a famous game by Larson. Have you guys seen the double bishop sacrifice game? You guys, does that ring any bells? The Larson's double bishop sacrifice? It's a famous, yeah, you guys gotta find it, or I'll show you guys. Just look up Lasker, did I say Larson? Lasker's double bishop sacrifice. So like early 1900s, I think, or maybe it was,
Yeah,
I think it was late, I think it was like 1890s actually, before he was champion. So you have these two pawns, he sacks on h7 and g7. Now, how does he do it? The knight maneuvers, different way of playing. Usually on c3 isn't as much, but he goes to g3, he trades off the knight on h5. The moment he takes, he sacks. So keep in mind, what I'm getting at is this knight is pretty much the only defender on black's king side. So yeah, this knight's nice, but if you trade it off, there are no defenders. Does that make sense, Uday? Then this, well, again, like this bishop is usually on b2. You could even
Yeah,
sometimes you'll just ignore them and be like, okay, now I have a half open f file, and I can,
or you
no matter
can
what, I
even
have
like
a rook, I have rook lift ideas too. So white has a lot of attacking ideas. What's that?
You can even go knight g4.
Knight g4 in response for, yeah, again, hypothetically. It's important to know general concepts though that might arise out of this. So you're saying knight g7, knight g4 concepts for white? I think that's what he's getting at. Uday, I don't hear you, but I think
Sorry?
you're saying knight g4 ideas?
Yes.
Yeah, that's possible too. I mean, sure, black can kick you, but it might actually be something, it was kind of provocative. Yeah, you might have to go back, but then that's a weakness on e5 that's permanent. And then I can, you get, again, the bishop, well, the bishop will usually not be on a3. It's kind of funky. But again, it is like a Queen's Indian reversed. There are lines where the bishop goes to a6. So that's just a concept I had in mind. But I just want to see what he'd do, whether he plays e6, because then I kind of reserve this option without letting him. Even if he gives me the bishop back, fine. Then we both have one bishop and he has doubled pawns for nothing. And I could work again. The doubled pawns are not that great here. I mean, you're going to fix them in place. But this is the game hinged on him trying to undouble his pawns, which seemed natural, but he had drawback. It was just something he overlooked, because now this is in terms of computers. That's where the computer will not get at this at all. This narrative that this kind of beneath the surface discussion we were having here in our game, this debate, right? Which was, can black play c4? And if he does play c4, is it good for him to undouble his pawns? And there's actually a sort of a tactical line that leads to positional gains. That's the question. So I'll show you that in a second. Anyway, that's the human understanding. We'll combine that. So as for Lee chess, here, I have it here. Let me make sure I've copied. I'm going to copy the PGM.
I can't see the screen.
You can't see my screen? Are you guys seeing it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's there, Uday. It should be there somewhere. Maybe close it and open it up again or something, or maximize. You got it? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't actually. I think my connection must have suffered a bit because I didn't hear what he said after the knight g4
About what?
thing.
About knight g4? No, basically, yeah, you can maybe do that provocatively.
Thank you, Andrew.
To provoke a pawn push. What's that?
Andrew just posted the thing for the Lasker game.
Oh, good. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, but basically you could go there, or like I said, there are many options. You can take it sometimes. And although, by the way, the interesting thing about the bird is you can play c4 and attack d5 too. That's what happened in one of my games. The first time I actually used it in the DC Chess League. This was the first time I used it in this new season. I used it both seasons. It worked out every game, actually, with white. But knight d7, and then you put more pressure on d5 in some cases after trading it. Maybe your bishop goes to f3. It's on g2 something. Anyway, very interesting opening. But again, it seems like it's sketchy. But it's like just like you could play a Dutch with black. It's fine. It's just it's aggressive. It's kind of old. It's old school, but it's interesting. You can make trying to bring it back a little bit, throw my opponents off. So anyway, let's see. So I've copied. So I have the PGN. I've copied this. So I want to make sure I can bring it to chess.com as well. So I would go to, let's see. We can do game analysis, right? If we, wait, can we just do, where's that? Where's that button? There's the, the full game. It can run a full analysis, right?
I think it's on that. I
It
think
looks
it's
like kind of like it looks like a bar graph on my computers.
Right, but I have to pull it up because I'm just pulling it from. I have a PGN. I'm going to double check. I think I can make a study. Can I do a study and do like
Yeah, you have
analysis?
to make it a study, otherwise it won't happen.
Oh no, I'm not signing. Okay, sorry. Well, I'm going to
Yeah,
pull it up
you
on chess.com. Then I'll get signed in. I'll just quickly pull it. I'm going to quickly pull it, or I could paste. I could paste the PGN. But anyway, I already have chess.com open, so we'll do chess.com first. So
okay.
we don't stall on that. Okay, so going to chess.com. So this is you do analyze position, right? I went to go over here so you can see the whole thing. I went to play, or is it learn? No, learn analysis, right? So this is correct. Yeah, you're gonna paste the PGN, paste it here. Add game, yeah. So it has our game. And then we do game review. There we go. Well, let's start with chess.com. Well, the thing is chess.com does attempt to be more qualitative.
Mhm.
So let's look at what it says. And I think I did the deeper one. I think this said, oh no, it's only depth of 18. Yeah, I want it to be deeper than that. You have to wait longer. Okay, so as you can see, it was
Damn,
pretty
91%.
pretty smooth slope. Well, he was just basically, the computer will say, oh, it's a bird, so black is fine. But then if they don't play it really well, then white starts to get an edge. And then, yeah, it was pretty comfortable growth in the, upward slope. So, oh, cool. Okay, I'll take it. But he made one blunder and 3 mistakes. That's what cost him. But I'm curious as to whether the subtle moment, whether the computer thought that was decisive. Then do you guys have a game you want to show as well?
Mm-mm.
Oh, we could play one and analyze it.
Yeah, either way. I mean, I'm sure you guys, we can like just pick one for one of your, recent games. So we already have it ready. And then we can play games after that too. I think I have to stop around one today.
Oh,
but-
why are folks ratings? I'm wondering. Is
What's
there
that?
any? Oh,
I've been looking for revenge, David.
What'd you say?
Oh, he
I've
said
been
he's
looking for revenge.
Revenge on the Blitz games?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was messy. Okay, we'll get into Blitz game. And I just have to finish around a little early, like around one. I can only do about 90 minutes today, but because I have to head to volunteering after that. But let's see a little earlier. So let's see analysis. So this is what I would recommend: grappling with this, right? So grapple with these 3 lines. But let's just look at the where is that the review? So here we go. Sudden, a close game that was lost by mistake. So let's see here. Let's see what it says. So the commentary is basically on these. Well, we could do then. You could do the thing where you want to have it. You can try to replay
through it.
things. You can
Yeah.
replay stuff. Well, let's just see what it says. Let's see what the commentary. I haven't done this for a while. Let's see. So F4. It says an offbeat opening. Yeah, but it's weakening. But quickly attack the center and black's king. It's dangerous for sure. I just practiced it with an IM friend of mine over the board. I got a really nice position, and we didn't quite finish it, but I got a really nice attack. He's like, yeah, that is a dangerous opening. So he endorsed it basically. So D5, knight F3. This is all book moves. It says, okay, so it gives you, this is useful. Gives you some quick, automatically populates all this stuff about the stats. I've played it 47 times already with a 57% win rate. Okay, it's not too bad. It's been positive. Okay, B3. And I've been kind of experimenting with it on here, So B3, yeah, makes sense. It likes it. Nice E6. But again, let's get to the main planning stuff. So this is all normal. See, it did not like A6. Because again, he's playing with the black pieces. He's down a tempo or half tempo, I guess. But yeah, he should just be developed. So one of the main problem for him was that he was behind the development. He had the weakness. So it's just a bad NIMS. It was like a bad version of an Nimzo Indian reversed.
So what should you done instead?
Let's see. So it says, but so basically what it's doing so far, it's explaining what a pin is. So basically every time you have a pin, it's gonna cough this up, right?
Right.
Mobilize the opponent's knight. But it is useful for beginners just to, they could read about it, but hey, here it is right now. Okay. And then it shows lines. So what is better? I guess it has it if I say show moves. Oh, it says here it over looks an opportunity. So this is where you can retry if you want, or you can just tell what's best. Well, what do you think they should do? I don't know, bishop d7 or queen out, maybe queen b6 or something. What do you guys think? It still likes white here though.
Yeah,
No,
bishop.
0.89 is after a6, I think.
Can you
Yeah,
press the hint button? Just
Well,
once.
let's just
the
make a
hint?
move. Let's just make a move. What? It's gotta be a bishop.
Yeah, bishop
developing-
G4
Yeah,
maybe.
bishop,
Probably
bishop, bishop
Maybe-
G4.
yeah,
Right,
so
right.
it's
Actually,
looking
that's
at-
why I didn't like that one too. I didn't like to see that too much. That, or maybe even queen b6 or queen c7 or bishop. That seems very passive. Okay, okay, Lynn, you mentioned bishop g4. It'd probably say it's about similar.
What?
Doesn't like it. It says there's a better way. Well, I think it wants to sort of handle this. So maybe it's something like queen b6. Let's see if it likes that. Maybe I think it's going to be fluctuating. Like, is it giving us an assessment? But this is where you can play around with it a little bit, and you do have
It's
your 3
thinking.
lines.
Still thinking about it.
But I don't think that's the one it wants. Okay, is it this? Is it going to give us immediate? Wait, I'm an analysis right now. What happened to it? Oh, okay, wait, retry. I have to go back to that. So is it queen?
What about
No,
e6?
after bishop b5, it doesn't like a6, right? So here, so I don't know.
Retry and then press hint.
Oh, it didn't like bishop g4,
So
right?
Retry. Press
Here we
hint.
go.
I
Here
look
we
at
go.
this
So now
one.
I don't know, queen b6 or something like that. It's
I look at
figuring it out. It likes it.
Okay.
It likes it
Okay.
enough, I guess. You were thinking what?
Yeah, I like the show moves option. I mean, it shows which line is relevant. It shows you like.
Yeah. Let's just do
why.
that. You can play around with that, but let's just see what it says. So bishop
I think
b5,
it's-
a6,
try
show me. It wants, no, oh wait, oh, this is why it's, oh yeah, oh cool, it likes, okay, cool, it likes bishop, it endorses bishop a3, I'll take it. Then I wasn't sure about that. Well, Soltis's book on the bird, I said transposes.
I think what he means is you have to click retry. Click retry.
Yeah, right here. Okay, after a6. No, you want to see
Yeah.
what it said. You want to see what it said though, right? Instead of a6. You want to see what it said instead of a6, yeah?
Yes.
Best. You want to see best. That's what we want
E6.
best. Oh, it is bishop e7.
Okay.
And then,
Activate.
then
So
click
I
show
mean, it
moves.
says, but you can see it's equivalent to queen b6, 0.13. The other one's like even. So some developing move over here that responds. But even here, if they go a6, I would still grab the knight and go knight e4. And still you've gotten and think about again, so similar to different openings. Think about the bishop be like Rossalimo Sicilian. Same thing, the bishop b5 and takes, and but or like any Nimzo, you're okay. Even if the queen takes back, your knight will come in. So you get, the point is you're getting control of e4, e5, even if you don't get to double their pawns. But this is reasonable. I would probably say maybe a queen move, but this is just not even moving the queen, just developing minor pieces. So does that make sense? That's reasonable. Well, what does it say? What is its actual explanation? It doesn't really say why though, does it? It says developing a piece. It doesn't weigh out why it's the best piece,
Mhm.
right? Wait, where? Oh, it wants that move instead, but whatever. No, bishop b5 is what I'm going to do, of course. Okay, so this, yeah, it's just instead of a6.
Oh,
So
you
wait,
got a little exclamation
wait,
point.
wait,
I always like
yeah.
that.
yeah, why not? It's straightforward, right? Wait, where was it? So a6, this would be, where is that one?
The
That would be-
BXC6,
is that
that's
the-
way down on the button, number
after-
6.
No, it was instead of a6, right? So a, what did
Yeah.
it- so this is where you show moves, right? Was it here?
Believe it or not, the
the best
explanations
one.
are better than 6 months ago. 6 months
Okay.
ago was awful.
Right, as who they're saying, it continues to
Yeah.
improve. Okay, so yeah, it's still pretty generic though. You talk about it talks about immobilizing a knight. Fianchetto is the bishop, so it likes my fianchetto. It likes the fianchetto instead of my bishop a3. Although I think it suggested bishop a3 in some line, but yeah, fianchetto is the bishop by placing it on a powerful diagonal. Okay, that's reasonable. Okay, but now let's get to the meat of it in terms of really important decisions, right? So let's go back. Okay, equal trade. That's not good, right? It's an equal trade. This is the only good. Okay, it's the only good move. Why is it the only good move? Why is it? Oh, equal trade. It should explain because of knight. Well, you mean like, okay, knight versus bishop, but
No,
it
this is where
doubles
it
the
is.
pawns, which is very important.
Yeah, it doesn't explain
I got dropped out
that.
early today.
The double pawns.
Mhm.
And then it has to talk about whether the double bonds are good or not.
Yeah,
It's very superficial. It's just very superficial. So you'll get, I mean, you can understand that much, but yeah, you can understand that, okay, it's an equal trade. but it's not getting much deeper. But, you know, that's where, you know, yeah, sure, coaching, but also he's your coach apparently, right? You know, you're a computer coach, but a real coach. Also, I mean, just your knowledge, you know, you can read about the Nimzo Indian, right? So the coach is not going to necessarily tell you everything either, a real coach. So a lot of this is just, hey, okay, why is this the only good
Hi,
move? Well,
Andrew.
I should read up on the Nimzo Indian. Who had to head out? Leia had to head out.
Andrew.
Oh, oh no, okay. See, Andrew. Oh, Leia, yeah, I know you sometimes have to go around one, Leia. Yeah, but here's the thing: you don't just have to like what Andras was saying about a coach, yes, but you can't only rely on a coach. You can rely on YouTube videos, Chessable courses, whatever, or you could just pick up a good old book and look up the Nimzo Indian, or in this case the bird. But certainly if you look up, as I said, it's reversed basically. So if you get a book on the Nimzo / Queen's Indian, you'll see the concept of taking on c3, or just look at the Fischer-Spassky round 5 game, which is an awesome game, and you'll see how Fischer went for bishop b4 and took and locked down Spassky's doubled pawns, and there's just a different way to play. There are various ways. Then there's the famous Reshevsky game where he effectively attacks what would be the c5 pawn, and for white it would be the doubled c4 pawn, but it's vulnerable. That's why I went after it. Now here's the real key, which I assume it won't explain. So it actually likes this move. It says, oh, it's giving me a 0.9 advantage. Okay. So but again, it's very early. It should explain that there are imbalances. Why is it better? Well, white has pressure. White has the lead in development. Black's wasting time, right? Doubled pawns, which aren't a great example, but you have to determine whether it's a good example or not. Now, this is the interesting thing about this game, where my opponent went for the undoubling of their pawns. Now it says it's fine, basically. It might have something else, but it's fine. Okay, a5. It says a very strong play. Now that actually made me think for a while. I thought for maybe 8 minutes or something, like almost 10 minutes, because this is important, because this will direct the course of the game. Now I thought for a while about c4 versus knight c3. Ultimately, I went with knight c3. So I'm curious as to what the evaluation is. Again, the evaluation, we don't know. It's probably not going to explain, but you guys can think about that. It's conceptual. Well, there is a concrete line with c4. What's the conceptually, why is c4 an important idea against this structure?
I guess it blocks from undoubling.
Right, exactly. That's the crux of this position in this structure, the next couple of moves is, are you worried about black? Like, is it good or not for black to undouble their pawns? Sure, fundamentally it couldn't hurt, but there are some serious trade-offs here. First, can he achieve it effectively? Secondly, okay, you have to think about some things like the bishop taking the bishop. Why is that an issue for black? If he's going to get it in, of course he has bishop a6, hitting the rook. That's his idea. He thinks, I can understand in terms of rationale. This is a very important concept to understand. Again, like we're looking, it's just an interesting moment to me. There are a lot of teachable moments really from here, because you think about, okay, what I'm guessing is my opponent had a dominant idea in his mind where he wants bishop a6. He says, hey, I got a tempo on your rook has to move.
Can you click the analysis
I'm going to
tab?
take back with my bishop.
The analysis tab?
Although you take
see-
f8. What's that?
Do you see where it says analysis tab? Next to review?
Yeah, we could run through a few options.
Yeah, the analysis will give lines. Like,
The full line, yeah. And I chose 3, I guess.
oh
3,
yeah.
use the depth. But I think, see, that's what you need to do. But this is what you really need to do. And in terms of what, again, going back to Andras, a few interesting comments where he said the higher rated players are going to gain more. And really, it's not just from the review, because that only explains so much. It's really going to be from
You could put 5 lines.
grappling
Do you
with
see the
these lines,
settings?
understanding these lines, trying to understand. What's that?
Do you see a screw where it says Stockfish 15?
Right. Let's also make it
Yeah.
go deeper. So we could do. Oh, it's not an NNUE neural network. We want that, right? I don't think guys. Yeah, we want the neural network. We
And
want Right, okay, this is if it does the game. Yeah, I didn't.
And
want-
number of lines
I didn't
5.
want this. Wait, hold on. Let's oh, that's a minute. That's gonna take us a while right now.
Oh.
I'm not sure if this will make it say more things. If we do more, I think it's just gonna make it have better moves, maybe
Mhm.
in the report, but I'm not sure if it'll make it say much better things. But then number of lines, what do you want to do?
Oh, you get 6 number of lines.
Oh, we do have the cloud. Oh, we do have NNUE for that. Okay, what's that?
Where it says number of
Yeah,
lines.
we don't need 6.
5.
We don't need 5. It has up to 5. I think 3
Okay.
is fine. That's normal.
Okay.
You can weigh those out. Maximum depth. Yeah, that's 30 seconds. Let's go. Unlimited, I guess, assuming my engine, I have the capacity in my connection. I liked files. I used to have that. It was much better. But yeah, we'll see. It should be okay. All right. So now it's going to go deeper. It says depth of 22. I think it was like what, it was under 20 or something before, right? So it's going to keep going. Anyway, so we could come back to this to see, and this is what I recommend. The ideal thing to do, to really, and we have to, as we were talking about Leia, you have to grapple with it, not to just accept, take it at face value. Well, first of all, it might make more sense for a human, and second of all, the computer might be wrong, because sometimes you'll put in a different option in this line somewhere, and the computer will be like, oh, never mind. Now with the Monte Carlo algorithm, it's supposed to be better at letting the cream rise to the top, but obviously it's not always there, and this is not like a supercomputer. Okay, or I don't know, it's through the cloud, but still, there's a lot of people using it, I don't know. Okay, so anyway, let's go to that moment. Now, so this was an important decision though, because this was like to me, this was the most important decision of the game. So I'm on move 8, but I spent 8 to 10 minutes on this move. I still had over an hour, I had like an hour 10 or something from 90 minutes, like well over an hour. But this is an important move to me because this is going to completely change the trajectory of the game. Well, interestingly, knight c3 stops a4, c4 stops c4, right? But the point is, well, which one am I concerned about? This is less important, although you might want to
C4.
target, but really this is the most important thing. Do you want to see c4? And for example, there's a drawback for them, right? Bishop takes f8. It's not a big deal, really, but it is a drawback. They can't castle, and sure they can go like castle by hand, but that spends time, and it weakens some dark squares, which the bishop can't cover because it's trade. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So again, the computer's not going to explain, but this is the one moment I really wanted to focus on, and I was a little bit unclear myself. I'm glad it said it was. I think it said these moves were okay, so I wasn't sure if this was a mistake. But you know, I looked at c4. Ultimately, I chose knight c3, but I looked at c4. I didn't like certain lines, like. I didn't like the idea. Again, I knew it was a good idea in a sense, and I've seen Capablanca. So Capablanca even played the bird sometimes, and he'd often combine f4 with c when you have the double pawns. He would insert c4. The thing I didn't like, yeah, well, there's d4, but the thing I didn't like was I was looking at it. Well, there's an immediate a4, but there's the takes and queen d3 line, which is kind of obnoxious. But I was looking at queen b3. I haven't analyzed this yet. I was considering queen b3, and I thought this is probably fine. Oh, I have knight e5, of course. So queen b3, it says third. Queen b3 is good too, but I wasn't sure about queen b3. I'm like, do I really want to trade queens? I'm not sure. Knight e5, it just loves that move. Yeah, that's what determines it. I didn't even look at knight e5 in my analysis. Well, I did later in a different line, but I should have completely looked at this because then it may have actually made me want to play c4. So this, interestingly, is knight e5. It also determines the other move. But still, it's an annoying move to think about. Although black is behind the development, it doesn't have more sting. It had more sting with bishop f5 stuff, which I thought about, because if I'm going to play c4, that might have more. It might be stronger. But yeah, it turns out knight e5, and the queen's not doing anything. So she goes back, let's say, and then you just go about your. Now, I would even be fine with d3 setups, but obviously, I just keep developing. You can, no need to take this right away. Let the pawn stay double. This pawn going to fall. Yeah, I like queen f3. Probably you can keep developing, and that's probably going to fall. I'm more interested in c5 almost. But yeah, this is just bad. So see, the computer helped me there. In my analysis, I didn't even consider knight e5. I should. Maybe if it were like a really important, like 2-hour, really long game, maybe I would have, hopefully. But I mean, I was trying to play practical moves, and I just, yeah, that's actually a mistake I'm thinking on my part, because I looked at one.
Since they moved the queen there, that was obviously a really big mistake. And the knight is like really ready to jump to e5.
Yeah.
Right, but it doesn't look like a big mistake if I go queen b3. But my problem was in my calculation tree, I only looked at one reply. I did look at this move, but I didn't go deep enough. I didn't look at 2 candidate moves in response to his 1 candidate move, right? And besides, well, you have a lot to calculate, Because you have to think about, oh, what if he doesn't take? What if he pushes? That's actually kind of annoying, but I don't really care.
Mm.
Because he still has the weaknesses. It's like a bad reverse Benoni. It's like a bad reverse Benoni, or again, reversed openings. But yeah, this is probably fine. It's still a little tricky. You gain space, but there's some targets.
Queen
So anyway,
ace
this was a
what?
really important moment for me, though. Even
Oh.
what's that?
I was just looking at like if he plays like d4 and like what the answers are like for that. Like if he plays, like you said, the reverse Benoni, if he plays that, like I just want to take him, but I guess that's bad. I just want him out of
Take the
there.
pawn.
Yeah.
Well, he's still going to come back. Well, here's the difference. It's possible, but then he takes back, he undoubles his pawns. Now you could think
yeah.
about it. I don't want to help him undouble. And it's similar to where you take f8, but f8 isn't everything. Taking
Right,
f8,
okay.
it isn't everything. So, and now, yeah, we have like a reverse Benoni. It's not that
Yeah, it
clear.
helps him.
Yeah, it's a little better, but it's not really clear. So yeah, no need to help them.
Okay.
So yeah, so it turns out that that's not an issue. But then I have to think about, I was just like, intuitively, you know what it was? I really seriously considered this move because I knew it was pretty good. But the thing about it, yeah, it's honestly, it's not a big evaluation change. Look at that. It's everything's, well, it's liking that more by significantly, but still it's all hovering around +1 really.
Mm.
So it's not like this is saying +0.5 and that's +1.5. It's within the ballpark, but clearly it prefers these. But knight c3 is definitely fine. It looks like, and I think I liked it. Well, here's the thing: when it came down to it, I preferred it because it was a developing move. Now I wasn't 100% sure about this. I saw complications, whether it's takes, push it, or a4, and practically I didn't have time to look at all that. And intuitively, I wasn't sure. I knew it's pretty good. I wasn't. If I already, another thing, if I had d3 in. And I know I lock in c4, it feels a little better to me somehow. Or if he doesn't get a4 in, I'm like, okay, you're not getting a. Here's my reasoning. I don't want to give him anything. That's the main reason I did it, actually. To me, it's it's restriction of his counterplay. So I go knight c3. There's no a4. And I determined that c4, well, it doesn't work now, and I didn't think it worked in time in the near future. Here's the trick, because I'll show you. Well, let me take away. I want to see if you guys find it. Okay. What the idea is. So, okay, so I go for knight c3. And the idea is knight a4 and just bother him, right? Okay. So I think the queen should have been on a5 earlier. So knight c3 would have been impossible at that point because bishop a3. Anyway, he goes bishop a6. I move my rook. Oh, interestingly, it wants me to do something else. I just thought that's the natural move, unless it wants like. The thing I didn't like about d3 is that he does maybe have more impact. Let's see what it says. I didn't think about that too much because I've seen d3 not working in some lines. So retry and moves the rook to safety. It's good. What do you think it prefers? Well, it's either knight blocks or pawn blocks. I don't think I like this. It seems a little awkward with knight jumps. How about d3? I don't love d3, but is that the move? Blocks the attack on a rook that could have been captured. Yeah, well, so does rook e1. CPR, capture it, protect it, or retreat.
Right. And he's on the same line as the king.
What's that?
He's on the same line as the king too. And the king's not, well,
right, exactly. I was thinking about e4, or I like to say ABC as well, away, block, or capture, because I'd be literally moving away or blocking. But the thing I don't like about this is sometimes c4 is more complicated, because if you take back with the pawn, you're left with a doubled pawn there. But the difference is he leaves it there. The difference is, I'll show you in a second. Again, I had a rationale for everything. So, and it doesn't make, okay, this is 0.56. If I play the best response. Now it's 0.3. So it's actually, it doesn't like it as much. But even here, like you can see it hovered around slight edge for white for a while. I probably could have done better, but I had, okay, but here's the thing. It all hinges on whether this works or not. C4. That's really important because again, if I didn't want to see C4, of course I don't want to see it, which is why I would go C4 myself. Unless it doesn't work tactically and / positionally. There's sort of a tactical move, which makes it bad positionally. Well, it does probably lose a pawn or lead to really bad double pawns, but you see the difference. Now, first of all, it says get a piece off its starting square. Yeah, so you probably should have like developed this castled, right? But first of all, when they go c4, like I said, what's the initial drawback of c4 that's just immediate and annoying for black?
well, his bishop's not doing anything.
Can you
The bishop, well, well, they have a threat. What's black's threat? Not a very subtle threat. What's going on after c4? I mean, there's not a big deal. You can take b3, that's nothing. Open up the rook, half open file. But what's their direct threat with c4?
The bishops are open.
Right,
Okay.
bishops are looking at each other. So if you deal with this pawn, you're losing your bishop. Well, you'll deal with it later. So what's the natural move that white would do?
You take it and you deprive black of castling rights.
Deprive them of they lose their castling rights. So that, and again, it's not the biggest deal. It happens in certain openings, and well, the thing is, it costs him time though. Again, look at what he's done. This was a free move. Well, he got this and I got this. I kind of wanted to move my rook. Oh, I might have wanted rook f3. So fine, he precluded that by making me move my rook. But bishop's on a6. So that's not a big deal. He did have to spend a move on a5. He spent a move on a6 first. Then he spent another move on a5. Then he spends another move on c4. Equal, I captured, he captured on c6. That was a wash. But he has spent 3 additional moves. And he's not castling. So that's other moves he'll have to spend, like g6, which might get hit by f5, g4, f5, or g4, g5 or something. So his king is certainly a target if he goes there, actually, which is why he ended up going king e7 to bring out his rook. That was a problem. And then his king never got away. So but you can see, look at the development difference. You know, it doesn't seem like white has that much right now, but there are 3 pieces out and castled. So that's 4. That's basically 4 developing moves. He only has 2 out, and he can't just castle. It's like a negative move because he's gonna have to spend several moves just to get his king safe, like castle my hand. He doesn't really have that time because if nothing else, you could just open up the B file and his rook's not coming out. So nothing else, you can start bothering him in the B file. Your knight can stop bothering him on C6. You can play for, as Nikki said, E4. Maybe just like
And his pawn at A5 is just stuck there forever.
Well, yeah, that was another reason for knight c3. And a lot of times you want to insert a4 too, although I kind of like the knight a4 idea. That made more sense when his pawn was on c5. Again, the prime example of that is when you have knight a4 and c4. That's like a famous Reshevsky game. Who did he play against? If you look under Reshevsky's best games, I can't recall it. If you look under his best games under chessgames.com, it's one of the top ones. It's a Nimzo. It's a Nimzo Indian game. But he does that again with black, but he blocks it. He goes knight a4 and attacks. That's a classic attack. And so I would like that, but this is still available anyway. It might still use that. But right now he's got influence over the center. If the knight comes in, he's got to worry about doubling his pawns, like losing the pawn or something. So anyway, it's looking really good. But that's one aspect. So the computer, okay. Here's the computer's explanation. It removes the attacking bishop. Oh, what? This bishop. See, there's nothing here. After all captures, this is an equal trade. Same exact thing as before, right? Same exact explanation for this one. Equal trade, the only good move. Okay, they're slightly differently worded. Same exact concept. Equal trade, only move that works. Just it changes its wording, but it's the same substance. Okay. So bishop takes, yeah, so we can see it's not that strong, but again, basic stuff. Okay, so bishop takes f8. So another thing, as we said, loses the castling rights, which is pretty obvious. It should probably mention that. And now, also another thing, you deprive them, as Uda said, deprive them of castling. You also deprive them of the bishop pair. So this whole, they're trying to open lines for their bishops. Well, now they only have one bishop anyway, and the bishop doesn't do much on a6 other than take away f1 from the rook and e2 from the queen or something, right? So the bishop is not a very strong piece on a6, if you think about it. The knights are going to be superior. That's the target. And now it's like, so we're starting to move up to the next plateau up here, start climbing here, right? To the +1 territory, 1 point something. So it's good. Starting to establish a plus over minus advantage. And again, that's not a computer thing, right? But plus over minus would be like whatever, +1 point something, +1.5 or whatever. Plus over equal would be like +0.5 or whatever. Okay. Or equal over plus for black. The other way, right? -0.5 or -0.8 or something. Okay. So c4. Now here's the key. So you take it, they lose their castling rights. This is the most important thing that you take here. Now, so my opponent, again, what they did is they made an assumption based on what I think was a dominant narrative in their mind, which made a lot of sense. Basically, if it were me and I were coming up with a narrative, here's what I would be thinking. Okay, yeah, you get to take on f8. I have to move my king, but I get to trade off the pawn. Ha ha. Look at what I got to do. Now you work so hard to double my pawns. I get to undouble. And so what? I just take back with my bishop and I kind of fragment your pawns to boot, like the A pawn. So it seems like it's good for him. It's the kind of thing where your thinking could stop there. Just like my thinking to be fair, my thinking stopped on the queen d3 line after queen. I just didn't look at 95. Okay, now here's the key. So you have to, but I had to calculate this before going into this to make sure, like here and considering other scenarios where it just didn't look like c4 worked. Because if it did, again, if it did, I wouldn't really want it apart from this idea, but I want more than just that. So why is it not such a good move? Again, it's just saying it wants to develop a piece, but why that's partially the opportunity cost, but why is it bad itself? What do you guys think? What does white have here? And while you're doing that, let me just grab some water right there. What do you guys think? Discuss out loud if you want.
Well,
Lynn?
what do you think? If white takes the bishop and then pawn takes the b3 pawn and then the a2 pawn takes that pawn, that opens up the rook.
But doesn't that also leave the B file open?
And the
It
b
could
file
even
open
be-
as well, yes,
It could be used by both though, but
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, like busting open the center looks pretty good idea, like with his king in the middle and he's so far from castling. Like that looks like a good plan. I agree.
I
Like
think
you're saying,
it's,
like you could also hop in and start attacking like knight e5 or knight a4. Like you have all these like ways to like infiltrate like after, like is he saying like after the bishops take each other? The bishop
well, the
take-
next move is either bishop take each other or he takes the pawn. So more than likely bishop's gonna take bishop, then king takes bishop,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But then when king takes bishop, it's white's move.
Right, right.
So who moves then? Maybe knight to e5? Because the
Hmm.
king would be in a really prime good position.
Yeah, I like that knight up in the middle
It
there.
sounds like you guys are arriving at, oh, I heard something. I think I heard a knight move. What'd you guys see?
Well, we were thinking, well, you go ahead, Lynn.
No, we were saying, okay, so the next move,
Really,
then after he goes to c4 will be bishop.
Oh, by the way, yeah, let's go there. Let's go there. Okay, from this
King takes
okay,
bishop.
now what's the move?
And now I think knight could move up to e5.
Okay, now it's a matter of move order, but yes.
Oh,
The funny thing is I didn't look at it earlier. Well, again, it was a kind of a more nebulous situation. Well, I had to think of it kind of X-ray style with the queen d3. 95 was very strong. It's still very strong. But now actually you can probably do it now.
How did you lose
but you want to do it
accuracy?
under the best, make it, you got to prime it a bit. What do you do first? Was that Richard? do you
How
do
did you
first?
lose accuracy after retries?
Sorry, we did what?
How did you lose accuracy after retries?
He's asking, how do you lose accuracy after like you retry?
I guess because the move we tried, like bishop g4, wasn't correct or something. No, it only went down like by 0.3. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, basically what you try to do is you try to adjust your, you try to make better moves. Like, oh, now you played more accurately based on your adjustments, which is
I know that. I use the feature, but I've never had like a negative accuracy adjustment.
minus 0.3. You're being hard on me. No, I mean, we were just playing. We were just like testing things out. But it was tricky though, because they were like, as it says, it's minus 0.3. It was tricky because it's like nuanced situations where the computer slightly preferred like bishop d7 over queen b6 or something like that. Like they were all fine, but yeah. But when we get to critical moves, especially if we do it for my opponent, because he certainly had improvements. Like not c4. So okay, let's improve ourselves here. Let's improve our accuracy. Let's see. Well, just real quick.
Yeah,
I think it was bishop e7.
Can't be like.
Okay, bye, Leah.
See you later.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So where was the move? So c4 is a mistake. Let's just do bishop e7. And is that correct? No, that's not correct, I guess. Anyway, you have reached concurred. Wait, what? Please wait for your other request to finish before starting. Oh, it's just like overloaded. Okay, whatever. Anyway, we're just going to work with what we've got. And again, like we're going to look back at this, but that's how we would try to model the way to do it. But we're still looking at this. And obviously we say, okay, this is kind of stupid sometimes, kind of dubious anyway, we'll call it for chess terms. Or bad move would be question mark. That's how the computer analysis is. But yeah, it's useful in some ways. So where are we again? We are here. that's what needs to happen. The kind of precursor to 95. What does someone say it? I think maybe it was Uday, or maybe it was about the other point, but did someone see the other move rather than 95 first?
Well, we were talking about
You mean from this position?
From this position, right? This is the reason. This is the reason that C4. Well, see, it's interesting. C4 is like strategically losing almost.
Oh.
I mean, it's very bad strategically. But look at the jump in evaluation. So it goes from this would be a plus over equal situation, which I agree with, right? It's a slight advantage. White's more comfortable, right? But anything can happen. Obviously, it depends how you play. Now after C4, it goes like a 1.5 up. It goes to plus 1.8. That's if black plays the best way. Could get worse. But yeah, so that's problematic. But why? Okay, what's the main line? Of course you take first. So again, that's one of the things. So that might cost him that might be costing him half a point right there. He's giving up the bishop pair, he can't castle. What else is there?
Knight A4, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking too.
We have to address, look, the point is, well, first of all, one drawback of C4 was we make the trade, which benefits us. But the main thing is they wanted this because they thought it was good. We have to prove that this is bad. Well, what's the most natural move to handle this pawn? We have to handle the pawn.
Take it.
It's just,
You just take it. Now this was this was just like I kind of made an assumption with Quimby. Again, that wasn't as critical. It could have been. But that just, again, I was leaning in that direction, but I just didn't go there for that because of that. What I incorrectly evaluated. But here he was off. He was off in his positional evaluation. So his positional evaluation was, oh, I undouble my pawns and I'm active. I got a nice bishop, or so he thought. Now, but it looks nice for his pawn structure. It's like, oh, great. And then I'm going to play C5, and I'm just gonna. This guy's higher rated than me, and I'm gonna get my crush, and I'm gonna get. I mean, hey, I would be feeling good too if you're playing against a player several hundred points higher than
yeah.
You're getting a game like 30 of, So you might have gotten a little excited about this move because it looks like I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm misplaying this bird opening. Maybe I did a little bit, but the point is that this was. I think he got a little. He jumped on this move, I can tell, and then he got really disappointed when he realized. So it's just interesting how it was so central here.
But David,
This is bad. This is clearly bad for him. And you have he's going to be weak.
Knight to D4.
Right now.
Yeah, 95. Maybe.
Well, we have to. Here's the thing.
Instead of going
We have to resolve.
E5.
We have to resolve this first. Are you saying take first or 94 now? Like right away?
Wait.
I think we should take.
We have to resolve this first.
Yeah, go
Now,
ahead.
if we go, well, he has C5 now.
Oh.
And then our knight's awkward, right? And that's the thing. He's hoping for stuff like that. And then steamroll. So then he's great. Then he's better. But here's the thing. Look, this is what you need to calculate. You can evaluate that this is bad. That's got to be bad.
Yeah.
1.5. I agree with that. Much better for white. This is a terrible bishop. These are terrible pawns. You have beautiful knights coming in. I was looking at even lines where like this one comes here and then that one comes here or something. But yeah, the queen can attack. I mean, if nothing else, you can. I mean, I don't even care about the pawn right now. It's blockaded. But maybe later. You have to watch out for 95 though. You do. So you have to be a little bit careful.
Well, I was kind of
These are targets though.
Yeah, Leah was mentioning the B file also.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
flopping.
Especially when the king is still here, the B file is very important.
Can't we go E4?
Oh, that's another. Oh, yes. That's what it would be. I think that was the immediate. Well, it doesn't look it likes 95, but I was definitely considering E4 as well, because I don't like the look of knight E5, right? Although knight E5 does target C6, but keep in mind you don't always want that pawn. There's sometimes I've played blitz games where they've given it to me, like a normal situation when they're just like this, and they've then moved their bishop or something and gotten. But this is interesting. So we can test this out. We try it out. See, that's the thing. Just because it wasn't in the top 3 moves doesn't mean we shouldn't look at it. So what does the computer have up its sleeve for us? No, it's still good for us. Still certainly good. That's fine. And this is what you said, Uday, it's an inaccuracy according to the computer, but who's going to play queen c1? I mean, so what? Check, it doesn't look that important to me. The queen could cover first or something. But this is a nice move, I think, because it stopped. I want to, again, like I said earlier, the human move is the restraining move. Knight c3 restrained the pawn, and it created problems for them, and it developed. This is a human move. It restrains the knight to gain space in the center. Very logical. It's still better for white, right? So I would prefer this over queen c1. Because queen c1 looks like a dead end. Although I do like, no, it's not saying it anymore. Although I do like knight e5, that's definitely a contender.
Yeah.
To me, it would be either, and I don't really care about rook b1 either. I don't care about h3. My two candidate moves would be maybe
Well-
queen e2, but I don't need to walk into there. Probably, yeah, probably knight e5 and e4. Those would be my two main candidate moves.
Well, David, I'm still looking at knight d4.
Oh, maybe now knight. Well, the difference is that they don't have fluidity anymore. You've ruined their structure. Well, let's say, you know, that's interesting, Lynn. What if they go c5? You just come into b5 and like a4 or something?
You just come into c6.
Yeah, that's really good.
Well, let's say you go knight g4 and then they go c5. You could hop into here.
Oh,
Then you
C6
got to
is
go
real
back
good.
anyway. You know, like
Right.
you
Yeah,
win the pawn, you get, yeah, kind of roundabout. Doesn't make any
yeah.
I would want to, yeah, I mean, here's the interesting thing. You might try to win this pawn, but even if you don't, it's just a bad pawn. It blocks the bishop. But you know, this is kind of like any end game is really good for white. You'll pick these off and you have the B file. Any end
Yeah,
game, like knight versus bishop
computer
end game will be. I want a knight versus bishop end game. Actually, that'd be great. Oh, what were you saying?
Yeah,
Uday?
that's why the computer was saying straight. I think that's why the computer was telling us to go queen c1, a3. It
Like,
helps to trade the
wait, queen
queen
c1 instead of what?
instead of e4.
Why? To keep the dark square under control? To play knight g4 or what?
Yeah, no. So that if we block with the queen, we can trade and go into an endgame.
Perhaps.
Talking about, like, after
Yeah,
it's-
no, yeah. If it were me, I would probably, unless I'm missing something, I'd probably go queen e7 now to just try to, yeah, I'd probably go queen e7 to just, yeah, or it's looking at king g8, but I would probably go queen e7. Either way, it's going to move like maybe h6 king. It's like in a Banco Gambit line. There's a line where the like you like trade. I forget the king has to. Oh, the king takes back on f1. You go h3 or g3, and the king moves. There's a Banco Gambit line for white like that. But yeah, but now you don't have. This is the thing. Wait, what? Yeah, this is the thing though. Yeah, maybe it's not great there because 95. But you know, again, from a human perspective, I don't think I'm going anywhere if he goes queen e7. You know, so I just don't do it. But yeah, I see your point. But this is just a bad position. Here's the oh, wait, I'm going to move away from this so you guys can just, so we won't get distracted by what it says. This is the most important move right here. This is it is the best move, but this is the move that gives me, like it says +2 about, this is the critical move. What is it now? This is what he miscalculated. Why I went into this, because I realized I had this resource. What is it?
Is it
Not
pawn
as-
push?
D3?
3?
It has to be more urgent because once the bishop goes back, he's fine. Yeah, if you don't do it again, if you don't do anything really strong here, yeah, he's fine. He's off.
e4.
Okay,
have to
knight
make this-
e4,
Knight where?
knight e5.
95, exactly. Now it looks like he can move the bishop. No, he can't cover this. Well, he either gets into a similar situation with the doubled pawns, or he
Yeah.
goes here. What if he goes to b5, try to hold it? Like, oh, you take with knight, take with pawn. What
Take
happens?
knight.
So again, it's very it's tactical in a
Take
sense,
takes.
but for positional ends. What if bishop here? You still win the
You
pawn?
take it.
It's something simpler. You want this pawn. Both trying. You're hitting the pawn. They're defending the pawn. This is what allows the whole thing to work.
Rook
Why is-
B1.
a4, you go a4.
Just go a4. Yeah, he's kicked the
Oh,
bishop.
A4.
Has to move, you pick up a free pawn. So I just picked up a free pawn, but it's really interesting. Again, my goal then was just, my game is restriction. I have a nice dark square control.
Mhm.
There's that bird, just like in English, you got the flank pawn, you got the nice light square control. It's the equivalent. It's just on the other side of the board. It's mirroring.
Yeah, that's why instead of, playing bishop takes f8, I was considering bishop b2.
To get the dark square control.
Yeah, because we'll be in a long diagonal.
But it's slower. Remember, this is another feature of this position is development. That's one of my main advantages, actually. I'm way ahead in development. I have, well, all I gotta do is move my
that's
queen,
true, that's
move my queen, and I've connected my rooks, right? So that's the main problem. Well, there's that, and there's the conundrum he's facing here. So that's really the reason it fails. So the point is, he either has to, something bad is happening to his C pawns. He's either losing his C, he's trading off one, he's giving up his bishop here, then he's losing his C6 pawn for nothing. Or he has to give me this. Or he's got, what did it want to do? Yeah, like G6, but this is just ugly. That's just very ugly. And then Queen F3 or something. It is his best line, but I mean, obviously I'm very happy with it. This is just a really bad example of the double pawns. White has a nice advantage long-term, right?
Bye, Miss Chess.
What's that?
Miss Chess just left.
Oh, what, she
Like,
left?
she said she had to. Yeah.
Oh, all right. See you, Nikki. Oh, a couple of you guys had it. Okay. Oh, and they
Do you know her name?
Castle. The computer always seems to say that I'm castling at the wrong point. I mean, castle ASAP, right? Castle ASAP unless you have a reason not to. That's it, really. Unless you have a better, unless you have something else. Or like, let's say your king is really safe in the center. If you have something better to do and you're safe enough, of course, do it if you think you need to do it now, right? But if it can wait, then castle. Obviously,
So David,
the default should be to castle as soon as possible.
on the topic of castling, I always like to do it like, well, I noticed about Fisher, he does it like between the 6th and the 7th move. But I like between the 7th and the 9th move. So you just say anytime you can do it as long as your king is safe.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much like about the metrics of it, like quantitatively. Because you might wait till the 20th move sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it didn't work. But at least the computer is encouraging him to castle by hand. That's what I expected. G6, King G7. He kind of has to. Otherwise, he's on E7 and his king is a target on the E5.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do it as soon as you can. If you can do it on move 4, like in the NIM, the interesting thing, again, going back to the Nimzo Indian, you bring out your knight, you bring your bishop to B4. In many cases, you don't do anything else. You just castle on that we move 4, right? Knight F6, E6, bishop B4, castles. That's it. Sometimes you throw in C5 or something. Sometimes you take C3. Sometimes you just castle immediately. So anyway, here we are. So, but I think for anyone looking at the video, you can see get a sense of the review, how we can use that. We can use this to get a few things, retry things, get a basic sense. But you're gonna have to have either more knowledge to fill in the gaps, or use a coach, or you could. But again, you could read a book. Like you say, oh, I don't understand this. Read a book or watch a video on the Nimzo Indian. A lot of this concepts will make sense. But the whole 95 thing is complicated, right? Same with the two most complicated points were when I should play, whether it was C4 or knight C3, and then his decision, which tied into his decision to play C4. But to understand why this is bad, you can see at the end of it, but the sequence that leads to this. Now it's clearly bad for him. We understand, well, when are double pawns good and bad? These are isolated, not isolated on a half open file, but they are isolated. They're split. A pawn's weak too. I mean, they can all be attacked in the end game or the middle game to pick them off with the queen or something. Anyway, and the king is weak. It's just white has everything they want out of the opening, basically. It's a great result from the opening. Okay. So 95. And then they give me the pawn.
What are you saying before this? Like before you said anyone who's watching the video, what did you say before that?
You say what? Saying what?
You said anyone who's watching the video and you went on for a bit. What did you say before that? I missed that part.
No, like if anyone in the class is going to watch it, or on, because we're putting it on YouTube now. So anyone is watching.
Yeah, like what are you saying before that?
Oh, that anyone would glean from it? As to what they would glean from it?
You were showing a line. Which line was that?
I mean, I think it's just that it's clear that how bad it is, and then how to use the computer. Well, and also the point is about the extent to which the computer analysis is useful, and the extent to which you could read a book about it, use a coach, or watch a video, ask a friend, discuss it, kibitz, right? Okay, does that make sense? But those are the main takeaways. The main takeaway that using this, but then also again, the main thing that I would say is learning how to use this. At the very least, you learn that it's not just, hey, it's the best move. The computer says it's best. Why? But you can literally put in 5 top moves. Well, maybe some of the cheaters will put in the top 5 and use the 4th move, right? They'll say, oh, well, clearly the computer didn't detect that because I'm making the 4th best and the 2nd best move. And sometimes I'm making a blunder if I know I can get away with it. You know what I mean? Like maybe Hans did that when he was using chess.com or whatever to cheat. Or maybe against Magnus, I think that's not to be determined, but at any rate on chess.com, he admitted to cheating, right? So they will do that unless they're just completely
I don't think he's
unity. Anyway,
treated.
that's another
I mean,
topic. What's that?
I really don't think that he's been treated offline.
Maybe
Online is a
not. Yeah,
different-
maybe not. But either way, he was
But it's-
he was a suspicious character in that sense, but maybe he reformed himself as a cheater. Anyway, as we talk about Lynn, once a cheater, always a cheater, right? Hey, maybe. Anyway, that's off topic. I want to show you guys the rest of this. So, but yeah, no, the main points. But then you just pick up the pawn, and that's really the main thing that I wanted to focus on. And the rest of it is just kind of, did I play accurate technique? It looked like it was pretty clean for the most part. I liked this, but and the point is also in terms of the lines. There's one really bad move. These two are almost equivalent. It's more structurally, what do you want? I actually prefer this move still, because it's just cleaner. Because what would I prefer? My opponent to play d4 or e5? I don't want to see him play d4. That's annoying. I don't care if he plays e5. I'll take it, and I have the open file again, and it splits his d pawn, becomes isolated. So I don't care if he does that, and then queen f3. That doesn't bother me at all. And the knight on d4 also guards c2. For what it's worth, even if the rook invades, I don't care about that either. And then I can move the knight knowing that c2 is guarded, knowing the knights are guarded, get the dark square control. So that's fine for me. Let's see what else. The rook b8 wants to keep developing, right? g6. Queen f3, it likes a4, but again, doesn't really matter. Yeah, substantially, but again, I like it because it's kind of probing the position and it connects the rooks. And again, I don't care about the rook. You have to realize that's a ghost threat. He's wasting his time. That doesn't do anything. So we're not going to get distracted by the rook. King e7. Yeah, again, I was expecting g6. Just get your king in that pocket. I don't think he likes stuff like g4, g5, like throwing some pawns at his king. Well, it's worse here. Remember, we talked about e4. Maybe get your king off the diagonal. I'm worried about this, right? Because you're going to loosen. You have to be aware. If you're going to loosen that dark squares, you got to get your king off the diagonal. Play for e4. Okay, so king e7, queen g3, straightforward. And then now it's just kind of winning, like almost +3. That's about win. When you're near +3, you're like at winning level, basically. And then he goes h5, playing trappy chess. Funny enough, I could have taken, like, there's some trick, but it looked like I can't take. It's like, oh, I win your queen. Let's look at that real quick. I did not see that. Is there some like knight f5 check right now? Oh, that's crazy. That's wild line. Do you guys see why knight f check works? Because you
knight f5, pawn takes, queen takes, f6.
Yeah, so it's actually similar to what happened in the game. I'll show you that in the game. I had the same concept of knight f5, but I didn't look at it in this position. So the point is, if he moves, you just take f6. You're getting off the hook. If he takes, oh, that would have been brilliant. That's a nice move. Then you sack. And then, yeah, but I think I can have better than this. I mean, obviously it's really nice. Oh, wait a second. He can't go here. He gets forked. So he has to go somewhere else. Then you take this. His bishop's hanging. What are we at though? We have so many pawns. Like we have 7, he has 4. Okay, I mean, it's an easy win. You're up. It's pretty easy. You're up several pawns. And then maybe you can bring the rook in. Just watch out for these guys. But yeah,
that's a little bit hard to see. That's a little bit ends one line. It's a little bit hard to see.
You mean to find out to see that you can take this?
Well,
or even at the
yeah,
end, even at the end of the line, how clear it is.
Well, you just got to be willing to make that queen sacrifice. And if you make
are
that,
you saying to evaluate?
Yeah,
You're saying
sure.
evaluation?
It's
You
hard
should
to
be able
sacrifice there
to see the fork coming
Yeah, the
out.
fork is hard to see. That's hard to see. I didn't see it till a little later on the next move. And Richard, what were you saying? Hard to see what?
I think a lot of the times the best moves, and you're right about the analysis, see the top 3 moves. Sometimes the top move relies on like an obscure line that, even IMs aren't seeing. I mean, GMs might see it.
Right. Now this
yeah.
is a pure tactic, but well, first of all, I looked at it, I'm like, again, like my time was probably down to like 30, 40 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to take forever on this. I'm like, you know what? I'm very happy with queen g5. Is that what I did here? Okay, the computer says it's not nearly as good. It's still a nice advantage though. But I was like, I'm happy with queen g5.
What
Actually,
will happen after?
and that opened up. You want to see what happened? Yeah, I'll show you guys the finish. Queen takes. Yeah, like again, like when I looked at it briefly, I missed that. I looked at it briefly. I'm like, I don't think I like losing my queen. That's why I believe, again, I should have taken more time. But I believed my opponent. He set a trap. I believed that this actually did trap my queen. But it didn't.
What about knight f5, king e8?
Knight f5 now?
No.
Oh, you're saying after this
queen
line? Well, then you just take f6. You could just take F6. I actually came up with,
Yeah.
yeah, just take F6, that's fine. And then he's still getting crushed. Like you just probably take D5, that's game. Just eating up his position. The only thing is you got to watch out for this. Oh, let's take a free bishop. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. The only thing is just don't get mated on G2. I'm always watching for that. But you know, the other thing is I had the grip on D4 in the game, so he never had a push. But you got to watch out for those, the counterplay. Always be very, you know, very sensitive to those things. But anyway, I didn't look at that too carefully. But I was happy with this move because I'm pinning the knight like he's stuck. And then now he goes here. And then this is the move that it likes. I still found knight F5. Now it's +7. Okay, well, it likes it because it's hard to find. It's the only good move, really? I guess there are other decent moves, but I suppose, but now that, well, the thing is that now this pawn's on H4, so he's starting to brew up something if you're not careful. But you guys see the same concept. The cool thing is that you don't, that, you know, when he takes, you get a fork by virtue of a pin. You guys see that? So it's a nice, I like the combo because it was pretty fun to play. Because you do knight F5 check, you remove the defender of D5. And by removing the defender of D5, it allows you to fork him here, and it's only possible because of the placement of the king and the queen, and the placement of the knight, which is pinned. So everything, it's just one of those things where everything happened to work out nicely. And if he doesn't take it, then he collapses here and here.
Yeah.
So he moved. Well, he sees that this is just done. That's just easy. Just like maybe take G7. That's a win. Okay. You still have to watch out for G2. You know, be a little careful. You always have like rook E2. Anyway, that's winning. So he went for he played king. He played king here. Interestingly, I was looking at this. I'm like, oh wait, does that work? I'm like, oh wait, the rook's hanging. So we can't. Wait, what was it? What would it be that he could do? Oh, knight H5. Uh-oh, his rook's hanging. So that doesn't quite work. And then his knight. You take his knight. Yeah, it doesn't. I thought he had something, but now like, wait, never mind. I didn't have anything. Okay, so you take here, but now it's easy. I was like, wait, does he have something against the knight? Like, no, these are both hanging. If he attacks the queen, you take F7. He doesn't do anything. If he takes you, you take his knight. And then it's very important, actually, don't take F7 yet. You don't need to take F. It doesn't really matter, but it's easier not to take F7 in my mind because then you attack here and you leave the option open. See, it's starting to favor that.
But if you, why not take F7? You take F7, you got to check, he has to move. And then you may have your eyes on the queen.
Well, here's the thing. By taking F7, you lose the chance to take F7 with check and trade queens if you want to. So it's kind of like you don't need to take it because when you take here, you're forking this and this anyway. So you could probably take F5. So I want F5, and then once you take F5, you take this. No, actually, it makes it so you don't even need to trade queens. Maybe you have more options. Like maybe I don't want F7, but if I want to, I could take it later. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was more direct. It was more direct somehow. It was more like the threat is greater than the execution kind of thing. You just didn't need it. And yeah, the computer favors it like by, you know, a little bit.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter. By about a point, actually, almost. Okay. Right. Okay. I wanted to finish kind of quickly because I had to go home. It was like past 11. But so I didn't trade queens. I mean, don't make it too complicated because obviously his king is in such a dire situation. So I figured, okay, let's probe a little bit. Oh, yeah, that makes sense too, Rickman. Well, yeah, that was good enough. You know, because you put some pressure on him. And then he moves his rook out of the way. And then you just centralize your queen. He actually resigned there. But then he's lost the file. So now I finally might take, but he's down how many pawns? Like 4 pawns?
Yeah.
He's about to be down 4 pawns. He's down 3, but his king is exposed. You have like queen A4 check and take this one. You have a rook coming. And the thing is, he doesn't have any threats here yet. He just doesn't have anything here yet, you know? Like, for example, this is probably way too slow. It might be queen A4 check. It just doesn't threaten anything yet. Yeah, I would have gone, yeah, maybe rook AB1. Oh, that's really strong. You're threatening here. And then if you guys rook B8, probably now queen A4 check looks nice. And then we can actually liquidate everything. Look at this. If you guys bishop, no, we can't go bishop B5. We just take it. So what does he even do? I mean, he's in big trouble now. King C7, you probably take with check. You just take A5. So again, you could use the computer to double check these things. It says queen D4. I would take with check. It's good enough. And everything's collapsing. But you just keep, and then maybe now I would trade queens after gobbling everything up. Maybe I'd think about trading queens. Although the computer says, because now I'm up too many pawns and this isn't, although you might not need to. But let's see what happens if you take this way. And then they go like here. There's no threat though. Yeah, I mean the king is just way too exposed. Yeah, you see, but I mean, obviously your king is not getting attacked yet, and their king is just out in the open with your rook, your knight, your queen. Anyway, that was just a technique phase at the end to see whether the technique was correct or not. So that's where the computer is very useful. Just what, was this accurate? I could have taken on, so I didn't even think about taking G7. I'm like, oh, I'm losing the queen. But I should have looked, I found knight f5 on the next move after this, but not on this move. That was interesting. But yeah, what I wanted to see, well, of course, we kind of figured the computer would not have the proper analysis here. And I mean, I don't know when they're going to have that analysis. It's really hard to explain stuff like this. Why knight c3 versus c4, and ideas like why c4 is bad, because that's multiple reasons. Actually, Decode Chess attempts to explain multiple reasons. I haven't looked at it for a while. I did a video. I'll probably do another video on that, see how it's doing now, as we talked about the rapid advancement. Yeah, it's interesting stuff though. As you guys, we didn't look at lead chess, but lead chess doesn't really even attempt to explain it. It just has the chart, like good moves, bad moves, and stuff. But this is a little deeper than that, so it's better to look at this, I'd say, for now. But lead chess, no. But if you're going to grapple with the computer, lead chess is just, because that's my recommendation. Is for the understanding, use books, use YouTube videos, use a coach or someone else who knows it. Have a discussion with someone, play devil's advocate and so forth. But as for yeah, just grapple with the analysis. And as Leah said, it might not necessarily be, you may not have to choose the move. Don't choose the top move. It doesn't make any sense, except for here. But in those situations where it's not really, it's kind of moot, like right here, you can choose different options. It's all the same, basically. See? All one, it's all like close to 0.2. So you got it +2. So you guys have any questions?
Oh, but I got a FedEx guy at my door, so I'm gonna have to go.
All
Or
right,
else-
Lynn. Good to see you.
Fortune
And
pack-
congratulations again on your presentation about
Oh,
chess.
thank you
That
so
sounds
much.
awesome.
And you all have a wonderful and a safe Thanksgiving.
You as well. Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. So, oh, I know Uday. Okay. Oh, a few people had, okay, they already left. I think they might. Okay, Uday, quick, but I gotta run soon to volunteer, but let's do, gotta be there earlier today. Okay, let's do one blitz game. I'll play Uday one blitz game. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I
sure.
don't like one.
Hey, are you
Uh,
going to show
I
it?
almost drifted off.
What
Are you
was
going
that?
to show?
I
Are
guess
you
we
going to
can
show
do
it?
Yeah, sure. I'll keep
Okay.
sharing the screen. Well, okay,
Okay.
guys, hold on. Okay, how many minutes do you want to do? 9. What time control do you want to do?
Anything,
Okay.
anything's okay.
Huh?
Anything's alright.
I would say have a decent increment. I like 3 + 3. It's better than, I mean, you have a little more, that extra second gives you a little thinking time. Hold on, okay, I was gonna close the door. Because usually I'm like holding a baby or something. So I'm gonna try and have no distractions this game so I can give you, because I remember one time I blundered a piece on like move 7 and I was like running around, baby's crying, So I'm gonna try to, right now. I'm gonna try and have them go in the other room so I can give you my,
Yeah, I sent you a challenge.
on lead chess.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not logged in, or I'd have to go in. Oh, can you just send me, if you want, you could just send me a link and I could open up the link. You want to do that? Otherwise, I have to go,
Yeah,
well, I have
we
to go to
can.
my email and open it and like, have it sent to my email and log in. Do you want to just send it to me real quick?
Just a sec.
Just like, yeah, just create link 3 + 3 random or whatever. Unless you want to play Fisher random, but that's always fun. But we'll play regular, I guess, right? You want to do regular or Fisher random?
How do you want to play on chess.com?
Chess.com? Yeah, I'm already on
Yeah.
chess.com. We can play on chess.com.
Yeah, just send me.
And then I'll just create 3 + 3. Yeah, let's do 3 + 3 on chess.com. Wait, hold on. Let me just clear the way for in a second. 1 minute, or 1 second, or 5 seconds. Hold on. What's that? Yeah, I'll be right there. Hold on. No.
Hey, I sent a challenge.
Chess. I don't care about chess.
All right. So did you challenge me on chess.com?
Yeah, did you get it?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'll go into play live chess. Oh, I see it
Oh,
now.
there you go.
All right, good luck. Wait, it didn't go up. Oh, there it goes, there it goes. Oh, it's rated, okay, okay. Got it, now I got it. No, that's
My
okay.
bad.
No, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. All right, the
Okay.
stakes are high. Okay, D4. What was I gonna play against? I don't know. I've been playing D5. Yeah, I did Nimzo against you in the current game that we had, right? I'll go D5. Oh, didn't we look at, oh wait, didn't we just play this?
Gambit.
Oh, we just played this last time. Oh no, I'm gonna see what you come up with.
Oh, come on.
I haven't looked at it for a while, but
Accepted.
what's that?
Oh, queen accepted.
Yeah, I like it actually. If you look at
Yeah.
Rublev, if you look at, I think it's making somewhat of a revival. I like
I think Hikaru used to play accepted.
Yeah, it's very sharp. It's kind of like if you play Slav. Usually, if you play a Slav, you end up playing C5 anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's A6 here. So there's like if they go E3 right away, you have a bishop G4 line, which I kind of like. I used to play E6. It's kind of boring. I realized, oh, the bishop G4 line is very interesting. E5 in. But we're gonna go with let's go with A6. I think this is the main move here.
I usually do E6 and then C5.
It depends on what they do though, because knight C3 is
Yeah, it
different.
does.
Knight C3 is very
Oh,
different. Yeah, if they go A4, it's not that good for them. Oh, this is interesting. That's probably a good move. Because I can't go B5, right? Or can I? Probably not. Can I go B5? Let me see if I can get away with it.
Oh, how?
Let me see. I'm gonna try and analyze that.
Well, I mean, you can, but I get 3 points.
Let me see.
Wait, 3 or 2 points?
Well, I got one pawn
Oh,
right
no,
now.
this
I'm
is
up one. I'm temporarily up a pawn. I think I'm gonna go for it. It's kind of counterintuitive, but let me see if it might work. Let's try. Because usually I don't see Queen A4. I'm not sure. Maybe it's in there. Let's see what happens. It's very Richard. Do you see the line that might be interesting?
No, but I see I see that he's going to try to capture on
Okay, what if he captures? Right. Of course,
B5.
yeah, that's the main line. What if he
Yeah,
captures?
then
Because
you
otherwise, if he goes
capture-
back, I'm like, oh, I just got to guard my C pawn for now. What if he captures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had bishop D7. It would have failed to bishop B. I would have won his knight, actually. You can't see, you pin it. You actually win the knight.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
why.
I
Yeah, at
screwed
first
up
I was like,
on-
oh, does it work? But it does work, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I screwed up on move 5. That's an achievement.
Let's see, probably bishop D7. Yeah, just trying to continue normally. Keep a little pressure on the E4 square. So yeah, it is a pawn. Usually what you do with the Queen's Gambit, if you win the pawn, usually you play for C5 to undouble your pawns later, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good move, I think. Maybe I just like hold the knight. I'd probably just hold the knight and then try to go
You
E6.
always say that and then you crush me. That's a good move, and then you just refute it.
What's that?
I've seen that a lot in the defenses, the knight D7.
Yeah, I definitely.
In most games, I don't play. It's hard for me to play it because it blocks the queen, well, at least temporarily.
Mhm. C5. See, I like to. Obviously, I want to get in C. It's something you want to do.
Yeah.
If you can get it and you do it, then you just like have a free C pawn. Let's do it. E6 is obviously a move. I'm tempted to be aggressive with C5. And just get the queen out too. You get the queen out to C7 or whatever, or B6, you get off the D file. Because even though you open the D file, you get off it quickly. Yeah, there you go, D file. Okay, you probably want to push. I guess we'll just grab it. Yeah, then you have then you basically blocks up a pawn. But white's kind of head in development, so it's interesting. I think just go like e6. Seems safe enough. And then just finish development.
You're going to bullet the rest out, David.
Well, sort of, but it's
Yeah.
I'm fine with I like 3-second increment. That's why I'm like okay to play on like under 10 seconds with it.
Oh, okay.
As long as it's well, I can do that with 3-2 as well, but if it's +3, I'm okay with it. Now I'm tempted to go bishop b4. Just pin that guy. Just finish the development. Let's bother your bishop. See what he's up to. Let's get off the line. Just playing like logical moves right now. And then castle probably. Yeah, so just consolidation. We both finished our development essentially. And now let's see. I have to be a little bit careful, but I'm up a pawn now. Well, let's see what would come. Yes, that was interesting. I guess queen a4 wasn't accurate then. But you have obviously you have compensate. You have compensation though.
How?
Well, typically, I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't work. Earlier on, what people usually do if they allow the c4 pawn, usually they play b3. But yeah, that would be if my pawns were doubled. But yeah, I think once I undouble the pawns, and Black's just up a pawn, yeah. Oh, you have that move. You do have that move. All right, I guess I'll just grab it. Didn't have enough time to calculate that carefully enough, but seems, I guess, reasonable.
Ooh,
Yeah, can bother you now. My knight. Yeah, I wanted to move the other knight, but that looks too dangerous. I feel like it's slightly sketchy, but okay. I don't know. Here goes nothing. Here goes nothing. Very sketchy.
what?
Here goes nothing. You can't take a4 though. Do you have this move? Okay. Does this work? I don't know. But I looked at this for a second. I don't think you have any discoveries. No. Sort of, maybe. Oh, maybe you have one. I didn't calculate long enough. Yeah, you do have that. Oh, yikes. I messed this up.
You flop.
This is actually really interesting right here. Oh, there's that. What is going on? This is crazy. I think I messed it up with it. I messed it up. Yeah, I totally messed that up.
What am I doing? Man, I screwed this up so bad.
Okay, now I'm back. I feel like this what happened last time. We both blundered. We both blundered a piece. Okay, watch your time. Yeah, we have opposite color. Okay, I ended up with the extra pawn after all, with the extra material, but sort of missing.
Two of them.
I don't know. I guess I can go into the end game despite the opposite color. Oh, I almost could have blundered a mate there. No, it wouldn't be mate. Never mind. We go move. Okay. Yeah, we're just playing on instinct right now. Just pure like random moves. I don't know. I guess queen trade's fine. Okay, here. Ah, no. What was I thinking?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, let's see if you blunder. Let's see if you blunder as well. No. Ah, now I really messed it up. What was I thinking? I was like, oh, I got him. I was like, I got this. Until I did. No, I'm probably blundering more right now. Aha,
Are you
you
kidding
blundered
me?
again. Oh, this is craziness. Okay, now it's like, is it a draw now? What is this? This is ridiculous.
I just keep blundering.
Yeah, we both blundered like, this is the worst game. No, I mean, we were playing on the increment, but it's funny. This feels like I'm getting like deja vu right now. Yeah, I'll try not to blunder my rook. That would be fitting right now to like blunder my rook, right?
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Okay, that's a lot of pawns now.
You're winning.
Is it theoretically winning, you think? Yeah, that's well, definitely not losing unless I really blunder badly.
I mean, if you blunder your rook,
Yeah, if I blunder a rook again. Trying to blunder a rook again. But I mean, we're low on time, so certainly anything could happen. But I think the king will go in front of the pawn, right? He'll hide in front of the pawn. Yeah, the pawns just make it like very safe. They make it very safe to play, like without worrying about too much. But it watched me mess this up. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to stop. So we both lost like 5 times.
yep.
Oh, wait, I think yeah, whatever. Oh, then you just push the pawn. Yeah, just push the other pawn. And then just don't put your rook on. Just don't put your rook on dark. Oh, that was that. Yeah, but I feel like that's what happened in our last. I got to run, but I feel like that's what happened in our last game too. Like I think it went the same way. Like maybe we blundered 2 or 3 times. This time we.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry I
Speaking
didn't
of
play
game
well.
analysis, what's that? I think we were both like too low on time though.
Yeah, like I'm sorry I didn't play well. It's like 12:30 here, so it's
Yeah, and
very
it's late over there. And we were both in like low on time in that situation. Okay, so we both had under 80%. Well, and that's not bad. You made 3 great moves and stuff. We both made like over 3 great moves. We both blundered a lot. Interestingly, it's not swinging that much. I thought it would have been swinging every other move, but it's swinged about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish, 5 flat, and then 5 to flat, and then so like 5 or 6 times. I guess no, but it doesn't spike that much. It's not like this. It's not spiking too much. Well, I think it's because once I gave the piece back, I had a lot of compensation. So that's crazy. I lost the rook, but it's still not completely locked. Yeah, because I have so many pawns and your king is. So I was able to do something like this, but that was completely bad. That then I let you go to c2. But I guess, yeah, of course, we were just like wiggling our pieces around. That's too many. Yeah, it's too many pawns at that point. Then I blundered my rook. But I think your opening. I think it came down to your opening. I don't think Queen A4 works because I've never seen
yeah, no,
people tend to do A4. Well, the computer is definitely good for that. Just here, pull up the opening book move. So this move is, yeah, B5 says good move because it looks unexpected.
Or
And I figured, okay, I didn't think about it at first. I'm like, oh yeah, you take, but that's, you have to go against your expectation because then you win the night. It's not about the pin here. You can't hold this. So yeah, that's when black starts. And let's see if it's correct to undouble with C5. It's good enough. What it's, oh, okay. Yeah, see, this doesn't make any sense. Don't look at this. You see how it says, oh, it said -4 at one point. No, it's the same about. Sometimes it'll be out of whack. But I think it's good enough. What's the, and you can check the difference. It wanted E6. So C5, yeah, it definitely prefers E6. But I think after this happens, it's probably okay. Maybe C5 was just unnecessary, but it's even saying -3 in this position, so it approves. But it is, I mean, I think the thing is you can play C5 anytime you want. And then after that, I don't know, did you have something? Wait, what happened over here? Right, this was crazy. This was a blunder. Wow. Oh, this makes so much more sense. Queen A5, hit C3, get off. I mean, I shouldn't have been, yeah, I was playing very risky. I should have gotten off the diagonal, of course. But then I'm suddenly, yeah, this, at first it looked bad, but you can't take my knight with this. And then, oh, this was correct, Uday. Wait, what did I do wrong? No, I played, whoa, that's crazy. I just like made random moves, but they were correct. No, then I blundered. Oh, what was I thinking? Yeah, I just retreat my queen. I just, no, because you also have pins and stuff. I don't know why I went to, well, it looks natural enough, but all I have to do is go to D8. And then I'm up 2 pawns again. Yeah, that was, I made a big blunder there with Queen A5. And then suddenly, are you winning the piece or something? And then I blundered again. I have to move my bishop. And then I'm okay, but I thought you had some other move. Did you have Rook B1? Or did I just take it?
Yeah, I didn't.
Did you look at
I
this
didn't
move?
have time.
No, I don't know if that works. or
Yeah,
not.
no. I looked at
Oh, I
Rook
can toss this
AB1.
away. I tossed away the knight, then I take your knight. I was looking at stuff like that. Okay, that's why. Because I'm in a pin.
Yeah,
and
no,
if you take
I
B1,
saw
you
it.
take here. And I'm losing.
Yeah, I had very little time. I saw it and I just saw that the knight takes. I didn't consider the pin.
Yeah, and at that point, theoretically, it's winning. Because even if you trade down, the rooks and it's 2 rooks that are active in the bishop. So yeah, for example, if you make a, yeah, like this trade right here, it still says it's winning, especially with the 2 extra pawns, the bishop solid. Yeah, then I just messed it up right here by hanging my rook. What should I do? Just move the bishop somewhere or what? It says, see,
F6.
F6 is not a natural move, right?
Oh yeah, that's
This
looks
is,
pretty
No,
bad.
it is because you remove the bishop from H2. then you can
Extract.
go with it.
oh, sure. Because that was my point, right? And then I open this. So I have to, where do you
Yeah,
go?
that's why
Oh,
I
it
went
blocks
king
out, it
H.
blocks out the bishop out. And then I have the checks and the check. Yeah, then
that's
that's
why I
mating.
went king H1. I hoped you would go
Well,
there
yeah, if
instead
you
of
go
king
here,
H.
it's just losing on this. Well, you have to give up your rook now because that's mate. So yeah, it chases your king. So you'd have, yeah, and then that's easily winning at that point with the extra exchange and coming in with the extra pawns. Yeah, anyway, great game. That was fun. That was a great game. I mean, we basically both won and we both lost. So, but yeah, it was just a blitz game.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Thanks for coming back, Uday, and great to see you, Richard. All right, see you guys.
Sure, I'll be there. Bye. Nice seeing you.
Yeah, keep practicing,
Yeah,
Uday. You're doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.